Right, well here we have the SJCam SJ7 STAR, a native 4K touchscreen camera. Been looking forward to this one. Let's get it out of the case. Just flip that little catch over and flip that up. I'll get it on charge and then we can take a closer look. But the first thing that strikes me about it when I get it out of the case is this has got a metal body. Feels very solid. So let's get it plugged in. USB cable, and then we'll take a look. Right, well I've got the camera on charge, and while it's charging, let's take a look and see what else you get in the box. Well, first off, obviously you get the waterproof case, which actually comes with two backs. It's got the waterproof back, and it's also got a touchscreen back, which they call the touch back door, waterproof to just 3 meters, which obviously won't be as much as the waterproof case. Looks like a nicely made case, and it's got one fixing bracket already attached to it. What else have you got? You've got a little skeleton case for times when you don't need it in the waterproof case. You've got a number of mounts. Obviously this mount here slides into these self-adhesive mounts, and it looks to me like this is the type that will rotate. Right, well you've got 3 of those with spare sticky pads. You've got a USB charging cable, which is standard USB size. You've got a lens cleaning cloth. You've got the manual, which, as it's produced by SJCam, should be very good. I mean, the company has been around long enough to know how to produce a manual. And of course you can also be sure of regular firmware updates with SJCam. You've got a handlebar mount, and as with the waterproof case mount, it's just a question of sliding these standoffs in, doing the thumb screw up. Probably telling you the obvious, these just connect by sliding in to the slide-in mount, and you tighten the thumb screw. You've also got a couple of tripod mounts here, male and female, so that you can actually put it on a tripod. So camera is charging. It's always worth turning the camera off. They charge faster when they're turned off. You've got a red light there, no doubt charging light, which presumably will go off once it's fully charged. You've also got some protective films on these. Please power off when charging. It actually tells you the metal body temperature will increase after long time charging or working, but not affecting the normal usage. You may rest assured to use. Right, so that just reaffirms what I said about turning off, and the metal body obviously acts as a heatsink. Right, watch this space. I'll be back in a minute once it's charged. Showed you the camera earlier on. You've got USB charging socket, you've got HDMI out, so you can plug it into a TV with an optional lead. Microcard slot, which will take up to 32 gig, and it will work with some 64 and some 128 gig cards. You've got the battery slot, which just slides open, and incidentally the batteries are not interchangeable between this and the 5000X Elite or the SJCam M20. On the top there you've got shutter release, and you've got a speaker, and of course on the front you've got a 166 degree wide angle lens. Couple of indicator lights. As I say, that flashes when you're recording video. Not sure what the other one is. I think it probably comes on when the Wi-Fi app is on. As far as the card goes, it goes in, whoops, like that. Logo side towards the back, and of course it's on a spring, so if you do it outside, be careful it doesn't fly out the window. I think I've just about covered everything there. There is a Wi-Fi app, I'll show you about that later. There are some test clips coming up. The paragliding clips, I just had it mounted in an open frame on the chin of my paragliding helmet, so there's quite a bit of wind noise. The sailing clip, I just used it like this, and obviously when I was walking around town taking video, I just used it like this. They do warn you that it gets a bit warm, which is why part of the metal case obviously acts as a heatsink, but they tell you not to worry about that. Oh, of course, and to turn it off, press the power button for a couple of seconds, you get a couple of flashes and it's turned off. Okay then, so let's take a closer look at the operation of the SJCam SJ7 STAR. I'll start off by saying the manual's in good English, but it doesn't actually tell you at all about how to operate it. Inserting microcard, putting the battery in, charging, turn the camera on and off, how to put it in car mode. It tells you switch to recording mode, switch to camera mode. It doesn't actually tell you how to do it. And although touchscreen cameras are pretty obvious to operate, basically it's left down to you to experiment and find out how to operate it. So hopefully I'll show you now. But a couple of things before I start. The camera at the moment is in firmware version 1.13, I think. When I receive cameras for review, I don't risk updating firmware in case I mess them up, because then I'll have no camera to review. Some of the things may change because they are now on version 1.14, and I think they're talking about 1.15 soon. Other thing is, nearly all my videos are made, and let's say I'm motorcycling, nearly all my videos are made with the camera out of the case. If you're going to put it in a case, you don't get such good audio. There is an external mic available, but of course if you want to use it in the case, that will be quite difficult. I've only actually tested one camera where they put a removable socket on the side where you could plug in a USB microphone while it was in the case. But if you want to use it for motorcycle vlogging with an external mic, you're going to have to find some way of cutting a hole and sealing it. The other thing I get asked is there a zoom on the camera? Most action cameras do not have a zoom. You might find somewhere you can digitally zoom by using the scrolling up and down buttons, but they do not have a zoom. Another question is, the camera comes with a touchscreen back as well as the closed back for water sports, but you can operate it and scroll through when it's in the totally waterproof case by using the buttons, as I will show you now. So the operation, on off, press that for 2 or 3 seconds, you see little blue lights come on there, the camera is on. You can see here that because I last used it in video mode, it's in video mode 1920 by 1080, which is 1080, 16 by 9 format, 60 frames a second, and fine. The mic is on, in other words audio is on, the gyro's on, which is what that is. I've got a feeling I've got a 32 gig card in and I've got 6 hours recording time there, and that's the date timestamp. So how do you get into the menus and stuff? Like I say, it doesn't actually tell you in the manual. Well, that's a settings symbol, so you could always use this in the case or not. You're into settings there. Press it again, scroll through. One thing I've discovered through my experimentation is if you press and hold setting, it actually scrolls through these, but it doesn't actually tell you it in the menu. So come out of that, press the power button once, I'm back into camera mode now. So you can toggle between video mode and camera mode either by pressing the power button, that's called toggling, or of course it's a touchscreen camera, so you can swipe from left to right, video mode, swipe again, it's in camera mode. They don't tell you any of this in the manual. Swipe right to left does the same, changes from stills mode, 8 megapixel mode, super fine. Now it's actually a 64 gig card I've got in, it's 53 gigs worth of recording time there. So obviously in video mode you press the shutter release, got a countdown there, video time, video duration if you want. Little blue light there flashing which you can barely see. That one's a bit easier to see. Blue light on the shutter release. You've got a blue light on the front here flashing. Again, I wish it was a bit bigger because I've just been out paragliding and at times I didn't really know if I was recording, but it's a kind of minor point. Press again, stop recording. Swipe it, you're in stills mode. Press the shutter release, you've just taken a still. Now there's burst photo in the menu, time lapse and all kinds of things. I shall quickly go through it, but it's all listed, so I'm not going to go through in great detail. So if you scroll down here, you've also got a menu. You've got playback of stills, pictures in other words. You've got playback of video. You've got the pairing symbol for using the wrist remote. Did I mention you can get a wrist remote for this? And you've got to turn Wi-Fi on and off. Scroll that back up, you get rid of that. Scroll down from the top, that menu. Scroll up, you've got a menu which lets you change from record to stills to self-timer to video lapse to photo burst, which is a series of photos. Click, 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 click when you press the shutter in stills mode. Little X turns it off. So you can also access that by pressing the settings button, and then you can get into video resolutions, video quality, fine, super fine, press return, you're out of it, slow motion, gyro, on or off, and so on. You've also got a little tool symbol there which you may see, which is another set of settings. TV mode, auto shutdown, screensaver mode, beep on and off, turn the date on and off, which you can of course, Wi-Fi settings, and that's the firmware version, as I say, version 1.3. Press the X, you're turned out of it. But you can also tap the screen and you'll get into that. Well, that may not be obvious because I've only just discovered it. So video resolutions, you can go from native 4K, touch it, little red symbol in the corner, you're in native 4K, return, as you can see, 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames a second, and so on. I'll come out of that. So tap it, video resolutions. Incidentally, you've got 1080 at 120, which is not very common, but this is a camera with a very good processor and a very good sensor. Come out of that, close it all, and that's that. And when you want to download the videos to your computer, just plug in the USB and it comes up with a menu. Mass storage, which obviously means internal storage card. External power, which means you want to power it for use as a dash cam. And charge, which just means you're charging it, you're not trying to do anything else. And of course it will come up on your computer as a external card, and you can just copy and paste or cut and paste to a file on your computer or do whatever you want with them. Right, so let's take a look at the phone app. I'm going to run through this quickly. If you need any more info, then look at my SJ6 review because I've gone into some detail on that. Turn the camera on. Make sure the Wi-Fi is on your phone. Go into settings, Wi-Fi. Now you can turn the Wi-Fi on either by the touch screen or by pressing and holding settings. Wi-Fi symbols come on, gone green, should pop up there in a second. Password is 12345678. Connect, which I've already put in. Connected, no internet. In a second it'll pop up and say, do I really want to connect? Some Android phones do not like connecting to cameras, I tell you now, and I know nothing about iOS, so please don't ask. Connected, no internet. Wi-Fi has no internet access. Touch for options. Do I want to connect? Yes. Connected, no internet. Let's see if it's going to work. SJCam already installed, just a question of scanning the QR code or going to Play Store. Photography contest, no thanks. Camera. It did work. As you can see, screen showing what the camera is looking at. So you can stop, start, record, like so, counting down, which is great if you want to put the camera somewhere and say record some wildlife. Probably up to about 10 meters, will depend on your phone. You can change to stills mode, take a still. You can change to time lapse, you can change to timer delay, back to video mode, show me battery state, 1080 60 16:9. You can change resolution and loads more, and of course you can go into settings. So the other thing of course you can do with this is download and review your footage while you're out somewhere doing an action sport. So if you've got something like a tablet PC, you could download it to the tablet and have a look at your amazing kayaking footage or paragliding footage right out in the middle of the wilds of Dartmoor. So hope that's helpful. If you need more info, check out my SJ6 review. That's Berry Head. As close as you want to go, but believe it or not, it's 20 metres here. And I don't suppose you can see that little bird, but that's a little guillemot. But it's a short trip. Saves me getting all out when we get back to Dartmouth, round to Dartmouth, shall I say. The entrance of which is just round that corner. And that is the entrance to the River Dart in beautiful South Devon. Trees spoil his view. Look at that one there. That's a bit majestic. Filming you, Timmy. I'll give you some stills. Right, well, here's my usual range of test shots shot in the town. They're at 1080-60 with the gyro turned on. All settings are on auto unless otherwise stated. The camera is not in the case. If it was in the case, the audio would be much quieter. So here's the first shot, which I like because there's lots of detail on this, and as I pan around you can see right down into the harbour, so you can see what the definition is like in longer distance, and there's some lovely detail on this brickwork. Right, here's my other favourite definition shot, the cottages by Brixham Harbour. There is some good detail here on the windows, some nice colour on the cottages too. Just pan around up to the sky. It deals, from what I've seen, it deals well with changes from light to dark. Another view of the harbour here. The sun keeps going behind some cloud. That gives you an idea of the quality of the video. That is a replica of the Golden Hind that was Sir Francis Drake's boat that he did lots of voyages of exploration in. That's the Golden Hind again, and there's some nice detail on the walls of the old Market House pub, which used to be the fish market years ago. And right now here's a dark pub test, very dark in this pub. Dark as a dungeon in here, my local Wetherspoons. Hello, Tim.